Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report is your preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda and an update from your Oshkosh City Manager. Your hosts, Emily Makowski of Oshkosh Community Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Thank you for joining us on your City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Emily Makowski, joined as always by your City Manager, Mark Roloff. Now, this is a program all about all the local things happening, city hot topics in your city government, as well as a little preview of the upcoming City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, May 12th, 2015. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome you, Mark, for joining us today. Thank you.
Great to be here, Emily.
So we're going to go ahead and dive right into our hot topics for today. We've got a lot to talk about, as always. First thing on our list is kind of a fun little topic here. It's dealing with Arbor Day. Now, last week, there was a little bit of an Arbor Day celebration at the Payne, and we were kind of honored a little bit with our Tree City designation. Once again, actually, I should say.
Yeah, it's one of those things, again, and we're very proud of it. Tree City USA designation is something that's given to us by the National Arbor Day Foundation, yes, and our 34th consecutive year. So we're pretty proud of that, yeah, to be honest with you. It really says that we have a commitment to effective urban forest management and stewardship. So we recognize the value of trees, and we show it. We walk the walk. So great event over at the Payne Arts Center. Several of our council members were there. I think you can see Councilor Cummings in the foreground. I think Mayor Cummings was there, and a couple other council members. I think Allison Osby. But very good turnout by our council members, and we were real happy there. So there's Councilor Herman doing the proclamation and thanking everybody for attending.
Yeah, so it's really kind of a fun event, and it looks like it was a beautiful day too. So it's always good to recognize those kinds of things, especially for things that are good for our environment.
Yeah, very good. We got a great tree program. Love to do more, and that's part of Bill Sturm, our city forester, part of his role with the Taking Root program with the Community Foundation. Really committed to improving our overall urban forest.
Definitely. We did record that program as well that you just saw. It's airing on City Cable 10 right now. You can check the schedule at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org to see when that'll be replaying. Next thing we want to talk about is the Memorial Day procession. Now, this is towards the end of the month, so not until May 25th, but we want to get the word out a little bit so that people can start making their schedules. So May 25th, Memorial Day procession.
A very wonderful event. You know, it's somewhat a solemn event, but we honor those who've served in our armed forces and have paid the ultimate price. And a very good turnout from the public. I think really shows our community colors that we feel so strongly about honoring our veterans and those who have laid their life out for us. May 25th, Memorial Day is the day, 9 a.m., and it's going to start at the county courthouse, and we make our way up Algoma Boulevard to Riverside Cemetery, where we have a service there as well. It's a great event, a great turnout by youth and families, and very proud to have this type of event in Oshkosh.
A really great time to really honor our veterans. I know we did a Oshkosh Today segment on this yesterday, and I think it's important that people remember the whole reason for Memorial Day. It's not just a day that you have off of work to go and grill out. It's a great day to pay your respects to both current and former veterans. So.
And we have a great veterans group here in Oshkosh, great veterans groups, I should say, and whether it's still some World War II vets, Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, Afghanistan, for all the different conflicts that we've entered into, you've got a great participation from that. And so they're so good at engaging the community, so we're happy to have them.
And there's a lot of other things going on Memorial Day outside of the procession. Like Mark had said, there's something at the Riverside Cemetery, as always. There's also some events prior to the procession, so just contact your local veterans group and they can give you some more information on that. We also will be recording the Memorial Day procession. Myself and a veteran himself, Mike Hurt, will be commentating on it. So for those of you who won't be making it to it, you can also watch it on City Cable 10. Mark, next thing we want to talk about is a road diet workshop coming up. Can you tell us a little bit first about what exactly is a road diet?
Good question. I'm sure when people say road diet, what's that all about? What it is identifying that maybe the number of lanes isn't necessarily the best way to manage traffic. Traffic now has so many issues, and safety is a huge part of it. More lanes doesn't necessarily translate into better safety. So this is just one example of a road diet where you take a 4-lane road with two lanes in each direction to 2 lanes in each direction, a turning lane. This one shows a shared turning lane. That isn't necessarily the case in every place. And then something dedicated to bikes and or parking. Sometimes they're called sharrows, another term, which means both a bike lane and the parking lane are sharing. In a lot of areas of town, parking is in high demand. We don't want to take away parking. In fact, with the before example, there's no parking on some of these roads. We've been working with the Department of Transportation to ask them, are there circumstances in which we can restore parking to certain areas? So this is part of it, but the primary motivation here is about safety and primarily turning movements that oftentimes with the example on your left, you can have people in the middle, in the inner lane that are turning left, and there's a lot of rear ends accidents. This way, they get out of the lane, and yet we're still getting good traffic flow. So this is one example of a road diet. You've seen one that we've put in place on Sawyer. We got to get the paint, the line markings, the old ones.
Fade away a little bit.
Yep, it's got to fade away a little bit, and that we understand that. And if you're still getting used to it, we totally understand. But we don't have the volume as much as we have the safety concerns out there. And then we want to accommodate parking. We want to accommodate alternative transportation with bike lanes, but it's primarily about safety.
Yes, and this workshop actually will be right before the council meeting at 4 o'clock with the Traffic Review Board and I believe the Plan Commission. What exactly are they going to be talking about? Obviously, they'll be talking about what you had just said, the whole point of a road diet and everything, but I think there is one that they're contemplating on Murdoch right now.
Yeah, they are. And the whole idea is there's a time and a place for every tool that you have. And the road diet is merely another tool to consider, just like roundabouts. Now, a lot of folks still don't like roundabouts. Other folks have gotten used to them, but you don't put them everywhere. Even though it may seem that we got them everywhere, we have to selectively choose and put them in the right spots. Same thing with road diets. We don't want to take away traffic volume issues, and that's if you increase the number of lanes for volume, you'd still have volume issues. On Murdoch, volume isn't as significant as safety, so that's why we're considering it on Murdoch. Staff is recommending it, but it's a process, and we need public input on that. The Traffic Advisory Board has to take a look at that, and then they'll talk about it after the workshop about Murdoch itself, pass along a recommendation to council. So we'll see a recommendation coming to council in the next 2 to 4 weeks.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Mark, this is something we've talked about for the past, 2 years now, and it's the field operations facility. Now we're finally coming to close to the end of the tunnel here, and we're going to be having an open house coming up that the public can actually get inside there and take a look. I know we've done a couple of video tours, but we haven't really gotten in there physically yet.
At long last, we're going to get to see the Public Works Field Operations Facility.
Yes, we're really looking forward to it. It is on May 30th. Open house will be from 9 a.m. to noon. It'll be some, self-guided tours, a few really cool equipment demonstrations, and then we'll have the, official ribbon cutting ceremony at 10 a.m., hopefully outside if the weather permits. But maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what we can expect for the open house period.
Well, we want to show people the investment that they've made and why you're going to see some benefit as a member of the public for this. You're going to see how it's improving our efficiencies and just to get a look-see at it. It's not completely done, but it's so close to completion. We want people to see it. We are using this as well as it can be used. It's increasing efficiency, and then being able to show off some of the equipment and kind of explain what it's used for and how it's used and why it's used. Even garbage trucks, you go away in the morning after you put your garbage can out front the night before, and you come back and it's gone, and show you how that works, show you how different pieces of equipment work. We want to as much talk about what we do in Public Works as show the facility off.
Exactly.
So it's all those things. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's May 30th. That's a 5th Saturday. It's not Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
It's a Saturday so that people that are working during the week can come. Bring your kids, seriously. It's not going to be like Quarry Quest and Nina where they got all the bulldozers and stuff.
Not quite, but
But you're going to be able to see a lot of neat things and be able to take a look at some of this equipment close up.
Yes.
The kids will have fun. So bring families. It's before Farmers Market, so we're not competing with Farmers Market. A lot of good things, but please join us. I think you'll enjoy seeing everything we have to offer.
Yes, I know I'm looking forward to it. And I know when we were talking about it in a meeting earlier this week, they had talked about bringing out one of those, I think it's called a jetter, that kind of cleans out the sewer lines. And so getting a camera down in there and seeing what's down there, I think that's going to be really interesting.
It will be a clean version of that.
Yes,
but yes.
It will be a...
But how are you going to see a sewer getting cleaned? This
Right.
is how it does. We'll do it a very G-rated version of it,
Yes.
and you'll enjoy it. It does. We do some really neat things and things you just take for granted. This will be your opportunity.
Yes, we're very excited about it. The last thing on our list that we want to talk about today actually has to do with OCMS. We've got some changes coming up with Time Warner Cable. Not too huge of a change, but still it's somewhat of a change with the channels here. Now we're eventually going to be going to a different channel number. For those of us who have a cable box, you're going to have to hold on. I always get this confused. If you don't have a box, you're going to have to rescan your channels.
Right.
If you do, you will still be on 2 and 10.
You got if you got one of those cable boxes.
I'm still kind of getting used to this.
Yeah,
too.
it is. It's kind of confusing because things have gotten changed a lot. But if you don't have one of those boxes, you're going to have to rescan it, and then you'll pick up suddenly 97.10 or 97-10. It's one of the two, or 97.2 or 97-2. So it'll be on the upper end of your channels rather than at the
Yes.
bottom end of your channels, but it'll still be there. So don't worry. And if you got a cable box, it's the same place it's been. It's at 2 and 10.
Then you need to disregard.
Nothing. Yeah, just never mind.
Now, I don't have the exact date on my notes either, but we will be airing a PSA at our break that you can actually get a little bit more detail on that too. So.
And of course, there's other options. I mean, it's
Definitely.
OCMS is not just cable television.
It is no longer just Time Warner Cable. We have a ton of different options. We have social media on our Facebook page at Oshkosh Community Media Services, as well as WOCT. You can listen to any meetings and a lot of our programs on there, as well as our website at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. All of our programming is listed on there on demand, so you can take a look at whatever you'd like to see, whether it's from last week or last year. So there's a lot of other options if you do not have Time Warner Cable, or if you are going to be getting, no cable box or something like that. There's always options to get our programming, and we hope that you can take those options and still find us. So we do appreciate everybody watching. We're going to take a little break, but before that, we're going to do our question mark. It's that time of the show where people have the chance to ask their city manager anything they want about things that are happening right here in their city. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the question mark is this week. Question this week is, why do I have to put my yard waste in one of those special bags? I think that's a technical term, those special bags.
Those special bags, when I think the question was probably put to, why do I have to put those stupid yard waste bags? The yard waste bags are really how we end up processing this. That's why we have what they're called biodegradable bags. And when we collect them, we take them back to our yard, the same place that you bring if you just want to get rid of your yard waste and you drive it over with your permit. It goes to the same yard, and so we pile them up, and they really spend their time degrading. We don't have the staff to cut bags open or anything like that, so we can't accept the plastic bags because we don't have the capability. But you can see that in the pile there, it's all just piled up there, and it degrades itself. So
yes.
We need those biodegradable bags. Now, I've seen people use the biodegradable bags, take them to the dump and drop, and just dump them and use them again. So they can, if they're too busy where they can't drop them off, fill them up again. Yeah. And we've got yard waste, the special spring yard waste pickup.
Yes, the spring cleanup.
Right, it's through
next week.
Through May 15th.
Yep.
So if you still want to leave them out by the curb, you got to use the biodegradable bags. But we're going to do the special pickup. It's on your regular garbage day. So get it out there, and we'll take care of it. And we got one more week left.
Yes, and if you need any more information, there's a ton of information on the Public Works page at ci.oshkosh.wi.us. So any questions, you can give them a call or find that information online. So that was a great question, very timely. If you'd like to send a question to Mark, simply send it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we will dive into the City Council meeting agenda for this Tuesday, May 12th. We'll be right back.
Want to know what's happening in local government? Stay in the know with City of Oshkosh government meetings, live on TV, City Cable 10, online at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org, and on Community Radio WOCT 101.9 FM. Miss the live coverage? No problem. Catch replays on City Cable 10. Stream online from oshkoshcommunitymedia.org or visit youtube.com/Oshkosh Community Media Services.
On Tuesday, May 26th, Oshkosh Community Media Services, City Cable 10, and CATV2 will be relocated for viewers watching on digital televisions that are connected directly to the cable line. Cable customers will need to perform a channel scan after the changes have been made. The new channel positions will be 97.10 for City Cable 10 and 97.2 for CATV2. For those with tuner boxes issued by Time Warner, there will be no changes in channel positions. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back to your City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us. I'm your host, Emily Mikowski, joined as always by your City Manager, Mark Roloff. Now, Mark, we're going to go ahead and get right into the City Council meeting agenda for May 12th, 2015. First off, right before the meeting, there will be that workshop that we talked about in the first half of the show for the road diets at 4 p.m. You can tune in. We'll be broadcasting it live on City Cable 10 as well as 101.9 FM. Next thing we want to talk about is kind of a really hot topic here in Oshkosh is the Marion Road Water Tower design. That's a little presentation that's going to be taking place right at the beginning of the council meeting.
Right. The council is going to be hearing from our staff, but the staff's going to be reporting on some meetings that they've been having with residents and other interested parties about where we are with design issues. And the Redevelopment Authority has also agreed to sell some property to the utility to locate the water tower in this area, but it's an additional piece of land so we can build the new water tower while and keep the other water tower, the one you see on the camera, online up until the new one's built. So that was really important. The second issue is what's it going to look like, and that's the
question of the year here in Oshkosh, I think.
And
what is that water tower going to look like?
And the answer to the question is we really don't know, because you've got some pretty divided groups of people that feel passionate about this. Some people want it to be very iconic, very visible, and other people just the opposite.
You want it to blend in and not even know it's there.
I've heard unobtrusive, invisible. They would prefer it just not to stand out. So those are obviously two very different points of view. Is there any middle ground? I think there might be, but it's got to be a discussion about what you want to achieve, how you can take care of things on the ground so that they don't stand out very closely, but then as you're looking from a distance, it doesn't look out of place. So there's a couple different options. There's some creative options that are out there, but all of the creative options really are part of one of two basic designs, and then you vary off of those things. There's some very bright, some very artistic. The council's going to have to make a decision eventually, but we're just going to brief them on here's where we're at, and then I think we're going to go back to the committee one more time before they make a recommendation to council. Now we know where it's going to be built, we got a better idea.
Wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to that presentation and hearing the latest on that water tower. Mark, next thing we want to talk about here quick is the support. Item number 5, Resolution 15-235, support the efforts of the Weight of the Fox Valley. Now, for those of us that don't know, what exactly is the Weight of the Fox Valley? This
is an initiative that's been put together by a lot of different nonprofit groups, primarily the United Way of both the Oshkosh area as well as the Fox Valley, and other groups that are interested in health-related issues. the issue here is dealing with overweightness and obesity, and that's their main focus. It's all about wellness, improving people's eating habits, exercise habits, and educating people on the value of it. They're looking to get communities to kind of sign on to this thing. This initiative is something that has been getting some momentum nationwide, and the idea is to make people aware of the issue, be a little more aware, and think before you eat type of thing, or think before you don't exercise. But it's also about wellness and about creating habits that promote wellness. But somebody will be there to talk about it a little bit to promote it, but it's really getting people to think about it. One of the things, I just got an email the other day, was commit to bicycle, even if it's just once a month, or do some exercise like that to get people out and about. And that's what it's all about.
A great effort to support. We're happy that we've got it on the agenda this week. Another item we want to just kind of breeze past here is some maintenance. One being for an HVAC replacement at the Grand Opera House, and then one for a roof replacement over at the Oshkosh Public Museum. Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Sure. Our capital improvement plan, our CIP, has a program set aside for HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, as well as roof. And what we do is we evaluate all our city facilities to determine whether or not, what are the highest priorities. In this case, the air conditioning unit and the main replacement in the main hall at the Grand is our highest priority at this time. So we're replacing that HVAC unit. Okay. Similarly, on the roof side, the Oshkosh Public Museum, there are some areas and the roof there that are in poor condition. People may recall that after the fire in '94, I believe it was, there was a new roof put on, but roofs get old, and it's over 20 years, if people can imagine that. So it's time to get some work done, because we're already showing some of the signs, and if you don't take care of these things when you do, they get worse and worse and worse. And the Grand Opera House and the Public Museum, they're considered more quality of life places, but we have to maintain our quality of life assets as well, because if we don't, the costs will go up and it'll cost even more. And we want to make sure that we're prioritizing things.
Yes, we're happy for that. The longer you wait, the worse it gets, like you said. Next item here is kind of a cool item. We've talked about it before, but it's kind of a change to that. Item number 12, Ordinance 15-242. One is the group registration fee for residents of the same household for bicycles. And then the other one is annually suspending the bicycle registration fees during April and May permanently. So now that was kind of a special thing, and now it's going to be every April and May, free registration.
Yep, our Bike and Ped Committee wants to encourage people to ride bikes. Our police department would like people to get reunited with their bicycles should they get separated, stolen, lost, whatever. So group registration, one address, everybody's covered. And also suspend during April and May on a permanent basis. We are currently suspending it for April and May, and we've been doing it so often, it's kind of like, why don't we just do it for keeps?
Yep.
So that's what we're doing.
Well, really looking forward to that. Definitely take advantage. Just stop by City Hall to get your your license for your bike right over here at 215 Church Avenue. So Mark, we want to get into this next item because we want to have a little bit of time to talk about it. It's the 2015 Citizen Survey results. They are in. What is the first thing that you want to cover with that?
Well, a variety of things. The students try to put a little different emphasis in terms of what they look at each year, even though the questions are the same. They did add one component this year about the frequency of use. We've been doing frequency of use, but we never asked, have you never used this service? When you think about it, there are certain things that I think people can say pretty well they never use. You hope you never use our EMS, our emergency medical service. You hope you never do, but people do. It comes up with the lowest frequency of usage. That doesn't mean people don't want it. That means people hope they never have to use it.
Yes.
On the other hand, if you're not a golfer, you're never going to use Lakeshore Golf Course. That doesn't mean we don't have it, but that means that not a lot of people use it, and that issue comes up periodically. Do we have a service that only 25% of the community uses? Pollock Water Park. It's seasonal, primarily kid or family oriented. It is technically for everybody, but not everybody uses it. So it's those types of things. Knowing that people never use something gives you an idea of the frequency of use and how maybe important it is in terms of allocating resources.
Right. Still a great point, though, that you said, even though they're not using it, or they hope not to use it, they still want a very high quality service there.
So it gives perspective. Now, of course, the survey this year still emphasized the things that we need to improve on, the things that are important. Streets, stormwater, snow removal, those are things that they are still recognized that they're high importance, but we're still not as good a quality as we would hope. We've seen improvement in these areas, and we've been putting a lot of resources into it, but anybody can reel off a bunch of streets that we need to get done. So we got a lot of work to do. So it's those areas of high importance, low quality that we really have to put our resources into. So that's another one. It's still coming through strong that's happening.
Yes.
One of the other things, and this was an observation they made, they took a look at some of the demographic data. People wonder why we ask for this information, but we want to see if we're getting the whole community. We have demographic data from the U.S. Census, but we want to compare it with our sample size. So we want to make sure, are we getting the right population?
And this year you've kind of found that it is somewhat leaning in one direction.
There are some biases in terms of more of the population uses it than others. An older population responds to the survey.
Yes.
Almost half the people are over 60. I can tell you that more than half the people in Oshkosh are not over 60, so we know that that's a little bit skewed. Also, more owners than renters respond to that, and so that's another one that could be potentially a bias. Those are the things we take a look at. Geographically, we do pretty well, but those biases we have to take a look at because does that skew the data? So that's something else we want to take a look at.
Yes, and that's why we urge everyone to take these surveys and to return them if you do get them in the mail, or to take them online too. There was a bonus question that I asked you about last time we had met, dealing with the wheel tax.
Well,
what can you tell us
dealing
about
with a wheel tax. Everybody may recall that Appleton had enacted a wheel tax, so council had asked me, why don't you analyze this? So the first thing I thought was appropriate is, what's the public think about this? And I can tell you the public doesn't think much about it, and I'm not surprised, but it was out there, and they overwhelmingly were either opposed or very opposed to it. So clearly that's not something, people don't want taxes, that's totally understandable. The issue is, well, if we did have one, what would we use it? People want us to focus on maintenance, which goes back to the study. It's something we're going to be talking about, but the wheel tax is something that's very controversial. There's another initiative at the state level that we may want to look at, but taxes are not very well thought of. So if you're going to even consider them, you have to take a look what the public thinks and what would be the proper use of it if we even did it. We have no plans. We're not contemplating it. If we do, we'll be talking about it. But this is just a first step in analyzing it.
Wonderful. And hopefully we'll have the internet version of these results up on the website soon, that the public can take a look at them and kind of compare them like the other ones. So,
we'll be online very soon.
Very interesting to hear those results. Thank you for giving us a little overview of that, Mark. The very last thing that we want to talk about here is the strategic plan update. It's going to kind of be unveiled on Tuesday at the council meeting.
Right. What we're doing is just updating the council on the reporting half of this.
Okay.
What types of things that we say we're going to target for goals, and how are we doing on those? There's a term called KPIs, which stands for Key Performance Indicators. And the idea is, how are we going towards those goals that we've set? And how can we measure it? We're going to show what's called a dashboard. This is the dashboard, but now we're going to have data to fill it and tell them how we're doing with it. We're real excited about it, and we'll have more to talk about Tuesday night.
Yes, and this beautiful little rendering here is also available at City Hall or on the website if you want to get a closer look at it. So that's going to do it for today. Mark, I would like to thank you for joining us today on this jam-packed episode of City Manager's Report.
Happy to.
Again, the City Council meeting is this Tuesday, May 12th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live at City Cable 10 and on our website, oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. You can also listen to it on 101.9 WOCT, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app. Make sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates, or check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. Don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Roloff, you can email it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of CMR. Thanks again for joining us on your City Manager's Report, and we'll see you next time.